tight curl pattern, which makes his hair easy to lock up. And then also his hairstyle before the dreadlocks, he had kind of a ramp or a South of France, kind of like a mixture between both, to where the front end was a little longer than the back end, and that was very popular. It's still a very popular hairstyle, but it wasn't a very interesting hairstyle for him. But his hair at this point wasn't really significant at all. And obviously he has a great voice and he's an amazing artist and everything like that. But as far as his hair, we see all these people now that have like such different hair and very unique hair that goes along with their artistic ability. And then when we seen him get into the dreadlocks, essentially all he did is really just allow his hair to grow out, and then he wasn't picking it out anymore, or he wasn't combing through it, or allowing it to detangle. So he was allowing his hair to tangle up on its own, freely form on its own. And I can 100% tell you that these are 100% freeform dreadlocks, because it doesn't look like any maintenance was done whatsoever. If there was any maintenance, you would see more of a sectioned pattern, or you would see more maintained. One thing that you noticed about his dreadlocks is he allowed a lot of clumping. So you've seen during the beginning stages that there was some smaller dreadlocks, and obviously you can see that the sections are just very messy, but you see that the tips are very sectioned out. But it's not from his hands, it's from them naturally sectioning out just based on his curl pattern. But then over time, we've seen that the clumping, and what I mean by that is mostly just congoing. It's more than one lock combining into other locks, overall making really big locks. And I think when he had more congos on his head, I think personally that his dreadlocks looked really cool. And then after a while, they all clumped together into two really big sections, which overall still looks really cool. But in my opinion, I like when there's a bunch of congos, and especially when there's like 5 to 6. I'm pretty sure he had 10 head congos on his head as well. But then all that just combined, because over time it will keep on combining if you don't do any separation. All right, and right here, this is my favorite stage of his dreadlocks. Looks a lot like Basquiat's hair, if you remember him. But like I said earlier on, you can see these 10 head congos, you can see 5 head congos, all kinds of different sizes of congos, and they overall just look really cool. And dreadlocks like this, or dreadlocks like Basquiat, or people that have their hair like this, like Lucas Sabat, it really draws me to be interested in actually getting freeform dreadlocks as my next set of locks. And it does take a lot of patience and a lot of commitment to actually allowing those to lock up. But like I said, this is my favorite stage of his dreadlocks. And I want all of you to comment down below, what was your favorite stage of the Weeknd's dreadlocks? And then what everybody really remembers is these two big sections. And it was just a big section in the back and then a big section on the top. And I just remember, like I said at the beginning of the video, I just remember like, what is his hair? I didn't know what was going on with his hair because I had no clue that it was even dreadlocks at the time. And that's true. A lot of people have that misconception, or there's a stigma that goes with it that people don't even know what it is really. And I think that now in 2020, a lot of people accept it more. Even back then, like I said, I didn't even know what it was. But overall, very unique style, very cool. And I've never seen anybody else's dreadlocks that look like how he had his, because he had a South of France, which is a haircut. It's essentially just a really wide mohawk almost. And then it's just overgrown, neglected, and freeformed. And I can definitely say that when his dreadlocks came to an end, they ended up in a very good spot. They looked really cool, and it's kind of interesting that he actually cut them. I'm not exactly sure the reason behind him cutting his dreadlocks. I didn't look into that, but I can definitely appreciate the evolution of his dreadlocks because of the freeform route that he chose, because how his hair looked in 2011 is way different than how it looked in 2015. And in 2015, it looked way different than what it looked like in 2013. So that's one thing to appreciate about freeform dreadlocks is that everybody's are different. Everyone's are unique. And the cool thing about his is he didn't do any maintenance whatsoever, because some people with freeform dreadlocks will do separation, which I consider that semi-freeform, but it really doesn't matter on what you call it. I think they all